Hello to one and all. Most conversations in Samvad take place in classrooms, halls, and studios. But today, my conversation happens somewhere very different. Among trees, under open skies, where the first voice of the morning is not human, but the call of a bird. Today's Samvad is unusual. Instead of interviewing another person, I will be having a conversation with myself. And the subject of this conversation is something that has shaped my curiosity, my learning, and my creativity, the world of birds. Like many journeys in nature, it began quietly. I'd always thought of birds as part of the background. Crows on rooftops, miners on electric wires, pigeons fluttering about near houses. But one day I paused and looked deeper, and suddenly everything changed. The common birds around me revealed their extraordinary details, their habits, their behavior, their songs. I discovered that each bird had a life full of purpose, finding food, building nests, raising young ones. And after that moment, I no longer thought that the sky around me was empty because it was full of stories. Well, you see, birds connect us to the entire planet. A bird that we see today in India might travel across thousands of kilometers of forests and oceans and mountains. Birds teach us that nature does not recognize borders. The sky belongs to everyone. And through birds, we realize how connected our planet truly is. Observation. Nature teaches us to observe even the tiniest of details. The color of a feather, the shape of a beak, the pattern of a call. Sometimes the difference between two birds is only a tiny marking on its wing. Slowly, as one progresses in birding, they begin to observe everything more carefully, including ideas in the classroom. Not at all. Birds don't appear simply because we wish to see them. Sometimes a bird watcher has to wait for several minutes or even hours to see a particular bird. And in the process of waiting, something interesting happens. We build patience, which is extremely important for a student. While solving a difficult maths problem or writing an essay, patience helps us to think clearer. In this way, birding quietly shapes the mind. Very much. Nature turns classrooms into real life experiences. Biology becomes alive when we study about habitats and food chains. Geography becomes meaningful when we study about migration patterns. Um, Physics appears in aerodynamic structures, and mathematics helps in estimating populations and distances. Suddenly, learning is no longer abstract, it becomes something that we can see and observe. Absolutely. Nature encourages curiosity. Instead of simply memorizing information, you begin to ask questions. Why does a bird choose a particular tree? How does it know when to migrate? How does an ecosystem remain balanced? Curiosity is the beginning of knowledge, and nature constantly inspires us to ask questions. Yes, nature is one of the greatest sources of creativity. Watching birds inspires our imagination. A single bird flying across the sky can inspire stories, poetry, photographs, paintings, and songs. Creativity often begins with wonder, and nature fills us with wonder every day. The moment of discovery, standing patiently, listening carefully, and then you see something unexpected, a flash of color in the leaves, a bird that you have never seen before. And in that moment, you realize something wonderful. The world is still full of mysteries waiting to be discovered. Migration is one of nature's biggest wonders. Each year, birds travel thousands of kilometers in search of food and favorable climate. They journey across mountains, deserts, oceans, and yet they find their way with such remarkable precision. For such small creatures, these journeys are extraordinary. They remind us that no task is impossible, and all it takes is resilience. Yes, once you have observed nature, you realize just how delicate it is. Birds rely on healthy forests, balanced ecosystems, and much more. Protecting nature isn't just the work of scientists or conservationists, it is the work of all of us. I'd advise them to start simple. Observe the birds near their houses. uh, note their habits and their behavior. For birding, you don't need expensive equipment. Curiosity is the most important tool a naturalist can have. In a world that is moving very quickly, nature reminds us to slow down, to observe, to listen, to wonder. For a student, these qualities are extremely valuable because creativity does not begin in noise. It begins with curiosity, and all it takes to awaken curiosity is the flight of a single bird.